Hello, everybody. You can all hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody's here, but we're going to go ahead and start because that's how it works. Okay, please make the mudra for the mandala offering. Here is the great earth filled with the smell of incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, the four continents wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalikam Niryatayame. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, I will attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. Okay, rejoicing. I'm going to start. I rejoice. Yesterday, I had a really fun thing happen. This archivist got back to me with, she was going to be the one who had the pictures I really wanted. I just knew she had them. Well, she didn't. She was very apologetic. We had a nice conversation. And I asked her, do you have the supervisor's email that I can email thanking them to have you as an employee? And she said, sure. So I wrote to the supervisor a nice little short note, which I did send to Chelsea as well. And then I got a reply back from the supervisor who said, no one ever does this. Everybody complains, but they never thank us for having good staff. So I appreciate it, and I know Chelsea does. So then Chelsea emailed me and she said she just received her master's in library science and was looking for a new and more important job. So I offered to be a reference for her if she'd like. And so it was really sweet to be able to not just interact with someone, but work with them and help them along their path. So that's my rejoicing, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, Svetlana, you're on my upper row, so you're next.
Hello, dear Venerable Sumati. Hello, everyone. I'd like to rejoice that we have this wisdom. And yesterday we went to the theater to opera Don Carlos. And I tried to watch this opera as something that is coming from my seats and try to understand the hidden meaning behind that. And it helped a lot. Like when a person did something wrong, I was trying to feel compassion, it's like she can be better, and then she is like becoming better, and you're like, oh, it's okay, she's good. And then when at the end, like the main character, he decides no matter what is happening in his life, no matter what power church dictates him to do, he's doing it out of love to his woman and to his country. And then when his death is coming, like there is some outstanding circumstances are happening. So for me, it's like a bodhicitta. If we are having bodhicitta and doing it for others, some miracle can happen. So I rejoice that we have this wisdom which can navigate us in our daily lives and in any circumstances to take the best decisions for everyone.
Wow, opera. I think I've been to maybe 2 operas in my life, both in English, thank goodness. Well, that's good. And that's a wonderful, wonderful experiment laboratory to follow your thought process and how you're making things happen. That's a new one. I've never had anybody decide that. So very good. You're now in the rarefied atmosphere of a brand new rejoicing I can remember. Okay, Katya, you're next. Hard act to follow. Did you go to an opera? Did you run another marathon?
No, I didn't run another marathon, and I didn't went to the opera. Okay, so my rejoice is that I'm gonna do it with the 3 spheres. So I see someone who was asking for money on the street, and that was my projection of in the past when I was not generous with some other people. So that's the reason I can see him asking money, and then I have the money to give him, and the money is the result of my generosity. And then the emptiness of me is that now I be able to do this action with wisdom.
Very good. Very good. Outstanding. Excellent. Now you just have to think that all the time, which is the hard part. But catch yourself and do it as often as you can, and you'll see your life change. I guarantee it. Okay, Dario, you're up next.
Good morning, Venerable Sumati. I'm rejoiced and I'm happy. I was meeting Lama Sarani, asked us about some whys, and I asked her. I have some questions, and I'm very happy. She told all of I want here. It's amazing, and she taught she spoke for us about her books, her book. It's
Puppy Pen Tutor?
yeah. I order these books, and it today it's come to me, and tomorrow I will take this book, and I order 2 books for me and for my brother.
Oh, good, good.
Yes,
Now,
and I'm happy.
are you going to order my books?
I don't know.
I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding, darling. I'm kidding.
Yeah, okay.
Unless you want to read about nuclear weapons.
For my brother, I think it's very interesting. It will be very interesting.
Does he read English?
Yeah, he is
Well,
speak English. Well,
I hope he
best.
doesn't. If he orders the books, I hope he doesn't get arrested for ordering them. But I tell you what, one of these days we're going to meet, Daria, and then Sarani will sign your book, and if your brother has my books, I'll sign his. So very good. I'll pass the word along to my lovely wife. Okay, Nellie, what's up with you?
Дорогой Лама Сумати,
Dear Lama Sumati, yesterday I had very huge joy for my daughter because she was very generous to her little brother and to her father. She bought new cell phones for them, and I was so happy I couldn't fall asleep. Because for me, this action was like very generous. I didn't expect it from her. I didn't expect. And today I shared with information with my colleague, and I told her about 6 times diary, 6 times notebook. She asked me, and I found information for her. I gave it for her, and I told her that I will help you if you don't understand anything. So for me, this is a great joy. Thank you so much.
Good. Very good. Cell phones. Wow. That's really impressive. How old is your daughter?
24.
She's 24,
24. How old
and
is,
brother is 12.
her brother's 12. Is this his first cell phone?
Ну, новый, да.
The new cell phone is the first, because before he had always like used already, and now he has new one.
Aha, a shiny new phone, all his own. Well, someday he'll know that where that came from. It wasn't from his sister only, it was from his past generosity. So very good. Well, now he can order all kinds of things. So now that he has his new phone, he's gonna have to break it in. He's gonna have to get on Amazon and order a few things. Maybe he'll order something for you and his sister. Okay. Alexander, what do you have for rejoicing?
Hello, Venerable Sumati. Hello, all. Yeah, unfortunately, our youngest son, Maximilian, swallowed yesterday evening a kind of small metal wire, which then got stuck in his throat. And Cornelia and I took him to the hospital, and luckily it was removed from his throat after, let's say, 2 or 3 hours without a major surgery. It got stuck there and caused bleeding, and yeah, but it could be removed and it's fine. And during the whole situation, I tried to see all the doctors and nurses as enlightened beings trying to help my son. And I also felt, yeah, a lot of renunciation, of course, and made some Tonglen meditations for him. And I also tried to see the 3 spheres in the situation during this event. I'm empty, and in helping my son, I can perceive myself as an enlightened being in the future and can really help my family and all living beings. Then the emptiness of my son, so in helping, I can see him as high being in my Buddha paradise in the future. And the entire situation was empty. So in this understanding will help me to perceive it later as perfect activity
Good.
of an enlightened being. Yeah, and I dedicate this to all the people, and especially to children, that they always get help in need and always find such a well-functioning public hospital system like we
Wow.
did yesterday.
Very good. Very good. So what did he swallow?
A small metal wire from a sticker. It was strange.
What's he doing eating more metal wire? You gotta feed him more.
Yeah, that's a good idea, but
I think he needs more ice cream. That's what he needs.
ice cream is a good idea.
How'd he do? Was he a brave Maximilian?
He was very brave, yeah. He was very brave, and he's fine now, so everything is fine. It was a hard situation for him, but it's after it got removed, everything was
Well, maybe
very
he
quickly
won't
fine.
put metal wires in his mouth anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did the brothers and sisters react?
Yeah, they were also very frightened and stayed up late waiting for us because it took until 2 o'clock in the night, 2 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, they all stayed up and
Well, maybe that's
we,
why I
yeah.
didn't sleep last night. I didn't sleep at all last night. I must have
okay.
had must have been
Connection,
sympathetically
yeah.
vibrating to Maximilian.
Mm.
So
Thank you.
very good. Okay.
Mm.
Mike, let me interrupt you in what you're doing and ask how your day's going.
It's going. That's for sure. I am I'm working on some new packaging for my business, and I was thinking about what I wanted to rejoice, and Alexander, I'm so sorry you had to go through that, and I hope Maximilian feels better.
Thanks.
So
Bye.
I want to rejoice in the compounding nature of practice, like practice that adds up over time. And I'm just starting to see things with my business. I lost a lot of like drive and a lot of my enthusiasm for it. And I've started, I think from going to these classes and studying and just how this information is affecting me. My consistency is getting better with classes, and that is starting to affect my business, which is nice. So I'm choosing to do more things, little small things that can advance my business a little bit, just a little bit at a time. And I'm not, I'm trying to stay out of the future. And I'm starting to see the effects of that, where I'm not really having to do a lot to cause things to happen. I just need to focus on like the little things that I need to do in the day to day and not worry about so much of the big picture. I hope that made sense.
Well, it does, but you have to remember that what you're doing now, the present is the future. So you do have to worry about the future or think about the future because you need to be doing the acts in the present to make your future what you want it to be. So don't lose track of that. What's your business that you have to reinvent your packaging?
Candles.
Oh,
Yeah.
candles. Wow.
So
So what'd you reinvent?
it didn't have like the window before.
Oh,
You couldn't see the label. It was just like a generic box, and these are like custom fitted, like they're like heavy duty. I got all these new
no.
like custom boxes and stuff.
Oh, cool.
So,
So what flavor candles do you sell?
oh, everything.
Send me a
Everything.
link to your website.
Okay.
I'd like to check it out.
Oh,
Okay.
well. Thanks.
Okay. Avilda, what do you have to rejoice about today? Microphone's not on.
Oh, okay. Okay. Am I there?
Yep.
My camera doesn't seem to be shining on my side. Anyway, yeah, thank you. Good day. Good day, Venerable Sumati and fellow students. I am grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the teachings. And I have something that I'm very grateful in the last 2 days, which opened up my remembering the 3 spheres and how karma works. So yesterday, I'm dealing with my diabetes and frustrated because sometimes things work and sometimes things don't work. I wonder why. And so wanting to find someone in the medical profession that may give me more light into what it is that I'm doing that may work and continue to work, and what is it that I'm not doing. And so I went to an endocrinologist yesterday, hoping to find an answer and to be understood, and finding out that I wasn't understood and I didn't find an answer, and that all she wanted to give me was pills and more pills, and that's not what I wanted. So I felt I wasn't being heard. I felt I wasn't being understood. I felt maybe I wasn't clear. So, but she did recommend a nutritionist.
Oh,
So today, so I went to get an appointment, and I wanted to have the appointment before I left for Arizona, and there was a cancellation. And so I went today,
very good.
and I met the nutritionist. And the nutritionist gave me everything I needed to know.
Oh, good.
The first seed, I feel, was the seed of my own discontent and how I didn't listen to others and how I didn't truly help others because I didn't listen to them. And today's seed was the seed of content of how I did help others and how I did listen to others. And so it's all empty, not coming from its own side, but from my karmic seeds of either helping or not helping, understanding or not understanding, patience or impatience, gratitude or no gratitude. So it all kind of bubbled for me after I left the nutritionist. I was so elated and so understanding of these seeds coming right away, one after the other, and a feeling that I understood them, and just seeing that this come from me, and that the answer doesn't come from a worldly way, it comes from a karmic way of shifting the way I am with others, of shifting the way I see the world. And whether it happens in this life or another life, the shift will happen. I truly believe that the shift will happen in my world, so I can truly become enlightened and I can truly help others on their path to enlightenment. And I dedicate this so others can see how the path does work and how the path is true, and that emptiness is true, and that our projections are what we need to, what I need. I need to see them as projections, not coming from their own selves, but from my own karma. So I need to continue this. Thank you.
And what's beautiful about it is it could be that the doctor who wasn't listening to you was a very powerful karmic object, and the fact that you didn't get mad and stomp off, but you realized he wasn't listening to you because of your past deeds. Maybe he was the angel that helped you ripen the seed to have the nutritionist be exactly what you needed.
Yes,
It's all,
thank
it's,
you. Yeah.
it's all
Actually,
very possible.
yeah.
And I am tending now more and more to look at things as if when I do a good deed, I've decided there's no reason that the result of that can't happen quickly. It might not, but there's no reason it can't. It may not happen quickly, but there's no reason it can't. And so I like looking for good deeds. I was trying to find a particular reference for an illustration in my book and in some papers that I'm writing, and I couldn't find it. I came across another paper I'd forgotten completely about. And when I read it this time, it had a really nice little nugget of information that's perfect for a part of the article. So I just doggedly persisted looking for the information, and the fact that it came up out of nowhere means that a karmic seed from my having helped someone in the past bubbled to the surface. And that could have been yesterday or the day before or a month ago. Or it could be I helped my lovely wife with something with her passport. So that's the game. That's the game I like to think of. The Dharma is a game that I'm learning how to get better and better at. So, excellent.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
who's next? Christina, you're up next for rejoicing.
Здравствуйте. Пожалуйста, переведите на английский. Спасибо большое.
Hello, everybody.
На самом деле я раздумывала о том, что я сказала
Actually,
о радости, и
I
сейчас,
was
когда
thinking about my rejoice, and today I understood that I was very sad, actually. I didn't feel joy, but I was thinking that,
как это сказать, я
how to say,
радовалась.
mentally I was happy. I tried to see
в том, что я
happy moments,
грущу. Вот так,
even
наверное, можно
in the fact that I was sad.
И я размышляла также о
And
том,
I
что
was
я
reflecting about why
вынуждена
I
переводить тексты,
had
которые
to
рассказывают
translate texts that
о войне и о смерти.
explain about war and
Ну,
death.
это очень чувствительная
And
тема.
this is very essential topic for me.
Очень, конечно,
And
грустные эмоции,
it is very sad
я испытываю.
topic, and I felt very sad.
Потрясение для меня было.
And for me, it's actually like a shock. But it was the task, and I had to do this. And I was thinking, why all my other students, they behave different. Sometimes they even gave some jokes. They discuss different words. But I am focused on emotional side of the context, and I couldn't see nothing around. And I was reflecting when and how I created this for myself. And I tried to be happy for this, that I can see this. So this is my joy.
Very good. Very good. You're taking the idea of the past is the present and the present is the future to heart, and you're looking and seeing what you're understanding that what's happening today came from yesterday or the day before, a month ago. And so what you need to do now is react in the proper way so that tomorrow, the next day, or next month, or next year, you'll get similar seeds ripening in your favor. So very good. I'm really impressed. You guys are doing exactly what I'm asking. Okay, Evgeny, no pressure.
Всем привет. Все мы знаем
Hello, everybody.
совершенств.
We know all about 6 perfections, and I found the 7th perfection. This is perfection of practice Sojong. But this is, of course, the joke, but I do this practice in my life for a long time, and I came that practice or works already in 1 hour after this practice. So I clean myself, and in an hour I get some small catastrophe. But I came to such perfection that last time when I did that practice with a group of people, when I went out of the Zoom, I felt purification, and my internet just was shut off. And for the first time, I was so happy in my life that it was some bad thing in my life that it happened at once, but I was happy for this.
Wow. Wow. Well, wow. That's all I can say is wow. Very good. Very good. I'm just blown away. That's the whole point of what we're studying. Okay. Recording in English, Anna.
is just recording today, she wrote in the chat before the class.
Okay. Well, have a nice day. Okay, Olga. Oops, you're interpreting. Are you in the class or are you just interpreting?
Actually, I'm interpreting, but if I will speak, then nobody in Russian will not understand, you see? Only you. So,
Okay.
so
Okay.
sorry.
No, that's I should have figured that out. Okay, we did die. There's Tatiana. Tatiana, what do you, smiling face, what do you have to say today?
Добрый вечер, Лама Сумати.
Good evening, Lama Sumati. Good evening, everybody.
Наверное, я тоже внесу кусочек, капельку печальки
I want to say some small, like a drop of sadness in our joy talk. I was listening to others and I was happy about them, and I remembered that I had a lot of things to rejoice. But I have a question to teacher,
если можно.
if it is possible.
Okay.
Благодарю.
Thank you so much.
Когда у нас, ну вот, когда мы
When we are ill, we feel sick, it is easier to be happy about negative karma. But now my mother is very ill. She is very sick. And the whole day, yesterday and today, I am thinking about 3 spheres. I'm reflecting about it, but I can't be happy about these negative seeds. And I see my mother ill. I can't see these karmic seeds. I think that I'm losing some kind of chain here. I feel compassion, yes. And I'm sad that I see her ill and she's like messenger for my negative seeds. But my logic is a little bit broken here, and I'm helping for help. What to do instead of practice? I do tonglen. I give her a lot of help, but I can't tell to myself about the situation, what to do.
Well, you understand that it's your karma ripening to have your mother be very ill from having perhaps not helped others in the past, ignored others' health in the past. So by not being mad at your mother or mad at the physicians or mad at yourself, you help her as best you can with joy in your heart, realizing that you're helping her get better. You're helping yourself by setting the seeds for you to get better. And anybody who helps you and you help them just magnifies the power of your particular action. So it's almost like, well, Geshe often says, people have to have a tragedy in their life in order to meet the Dharma and really take it on. And for us, that was my lovely wife's parents passing away in a plane crash. So it was a horrible thing that happened, but it was very positive in terms of what we've done now in our lives. We thought when they died in 1987, we didn't know why we were still on the earth. We missed them greatly. We didn't mourn them in the sense of crying and stuff. We just liked being with them. So that disappeared when they died. And we had to figure out what we needed to do in order to get that back in our lives. And I don't think I have one or two friends that are really close. Well, I have really just one really close friend, and that's my lovely wife. So I just make sure I'm doing whatever I can to help her, or help if she's helping somebody and needs my help to help them, then I joyfully do that. We're both getting to the point where we're joyfully doing right away what the other person wants. It's kind of funny. She'll ask me to do something, I'll go in and get what she needs and give it to her, and she goes, well, now I've got to do that for you. And she gets up and does something quickly for me. So it's pretty fun, actually. Okay, is that everybody, I think? So rejoicing, very powerful. It helps me keep in perspective what I'm doing, because I know it's possible that the rejoicing I do today can affect me later in the day, or tomorrow, or the next day. So, okay. So let's get back to the diamond cutter. Geshe Michael leads off by saying, this is perhaps the most important class in the course, so please listen carefully. Lord Buddha asked Subhuti, so what do you think, Subhuti? When the stream enterer enters the stream, do they think to him or themselves, have I entered the stream? And Subhuti, who's been asking and answering these questions now for quite a while, says, no, he or she does not think that. A stream enterer, what is a stream enterer? A stream enterer happens with your first direct perception of emptiness, and that's when you become an Arya. There are two basic divisions of beings in the universe, those who have seen emptiness directly and those who have not. It's a huge distinction because you're a totally different person than the moment before you had that experience. Geshe Michael emphasizes that until you have the first direction moment, the first direction of emptiness, your career in samsara is unlimited. You're going to be in samsara for a long, long time. You've been in samsara for a long, long time. Once you become an Arya, typically you have 7 more lifetimes, and you know that you're moving inexorably towards nirvana and enlightenment. That is where the term stream enterer comes from, because it is as if you were swept along in the river of the path to enlightenment. Another thing that happens in that moment, you become the 2 of the 3 jewels. The Sangha jewel, Sangha usually refers to the ordained people. The Sangha jewel refers to anyone, ordained or not, who has seen emptiness directly. As such, they're all valid authorities for teaching us how to do it. And that is how they can become our projection. Dharma has many meanings, but in this case, it means the teachings of Buddhism. The Dharma jewel are the realizations and sensations in the mind of a being who has had the direct perception of emptiness. What does it take to reach this experience? Well, that's why we're also studying, some of you are also studying the long room with me. It's spelled out in all the long room teachings, some more clearly than others. But it's there and it's being talked about. So you have to remember, and this is a battle I fight, you have to not, how's the term? Don't miss the, oh, come on. don't give up on the teaching because of the teacher. So if you see me teaching something you don't understand, and you have another teacher who's doing a better job, go to that teacher and learn what you can. Now, if I tune in next Monday and everybody's gone, then you've taken my advice, and I guess that's a good thing. Anyway, okay. So the Lam Rim spells it out. So we talk about the 5 paths. Who can give me the 5 paths? The first one. We did this recently, but we're doing it again. So let's go, Nellie. I'll give you a hint. It's like collecting stuff.
Я дам вам подсказку. Это как
Ну, я
Go ahead, Nellie.
путь видения, это, по-моему, 3-й путь, да?
The path of seeing. Is it the third path? Yes.
No, the first.
The first is path of collection. Path of collection.
Right. Very good. And what are we collecting?
Ну, изучая Дharmu, мы накапливаем.
We study Dharma and we collect knowledge. Then we use this knowledge every day in our practice. We learn ACI courses. Is it correct?
Well, it's partially correct. Let me just put the first one up here. Okay. It's accumulating. I thought all those things too, and I got it confused for a long time. It's accumulating not merit, it's accumulating renunciation. It's accumulating disgust with your present condition. Not like you're upset at the people around you or anything. You're upset at yourself for being easily distracted and annoyed and all the mental afflictions that come up. So you want out. So you need to you focus your attention on what needs to be done to get out of samsara. So you find a teacher, you find the teachings, you find Geshe Michael, you find the ACI courses, and now you're on your ticket to getting out of samsara, because this is going to lead you to the path of accumulation, renunciation, where you finally give up that last thing that stops you from really meditating and studying. And then you go on from there. So path of accumulation, we just remember path of accumulation is accumulating renunciation. Okay, what's the next path? Anybody?
The path of seeing.
Path of,
No, the path of not seeing.
Whoops.
Oops.
Preparation.
Preparation.
Yeah, the preparation. So you're preparing, it's not like you're preparing your room for something. You're preparing by studying emptiness. So you've had good renunciation. You want out of samsara. And now you're studying the Dharma, the path of seeing, the path of preparation, understanding emptiness better and better so that you can have the direct perception in the next path, which is the path of seeing. The path of seeing is the direct perception of emptiness and what happens during that. So let me see. I want to say a little bit more about that, a lot more about that. Okay, I skipped over part of what I wanted to say. So true renunciation is being totally disgusted with everything in this broken realm. So if you study the 3 principal paths, these are 3 verses from that teaching. There is no way to end without pure renunciation, this striving for pleasant results in the ocean of life. It is because of their hankering for life as well that beings are fettered. So seek renunciation first. Leisure and fortune are hard to find. Life is not long. Think this constantly. Stop desire for this life. Think over and over how deeds and their fruits never fail, and the cycle of suffering. Stop desire for the future. When you meditate thus and feel not even a moment's wish for the good things of cyclic life, and when you begin to think both night and day of achieving freedom, you have found renunciation. So I keep those stanzas in mind when I get a little upset about something during the day. I stop and think, well, why is that karma ripening? I've been a nice person. That shouldn't happen to me. And I stop and I recite some of these verses, and it brings me back to understanding that it's all coming from me. There's nobody else to blame for. Which, I don't know about you all, but I like being responsible. Now, am I happy I'm responsible for my Parkinson's? No. But I'm glad it's not somebody else making me have Parkinson's because of the terrible karma they'd be generating by being happy that I have Parkinson's or having forced me to get Parkinson's. Okay, so that's accumulation. Now, the path of preparation, preparing to have the direct perception of emptiness by gaining the intellectual understanding of emptiness through study, class time, contemplation. I would say it's really important. Well, there's a topic we're going to be talking about in much greater detail next class or two. It's the concept of Chi-Chedra. Now I'm going to have to go past. Oh, what's going on here? Okay. Chi-Chedra. Chi is quality. Chedrak is characteristics. It's a difficult concept to think about, to understand. And we're gonna beat on it until we think we might have an understanding. So chi means quality, chedrak means characteristic, things characteristic of that quality, like set and subset. There are 4 different kinds of chi. There's sok chi. Oh, come on. Sok chi. General, as far as a collection, is a translation, or put it another way, a whole which is comprised of the parts, such as a human body is composed of arms, legs, torso, and head. This chi is not so helpful in understanding the direct perception of emptiness. Okay, need to get my cursor over here. You just scroll up there, come back to here. Then there's riksha. Riksha is type. So motor vehicle and Chevrolet. All Chevrolets are motor vehicles, but not all motor vehicles are Chevrolets. There are many examples, but the point is what it is that makes us identify the things we do in the way we do. What is it about that car that makes me see a taxi cab or a van or a sports car? Non-Buddhist schools think the taxi cab's identity clothes the object and sends out its own identity from it to me. We do not believe that. This is like preaching to the choir. but bear with me. This idea cannot be accurate. If it were so, and every being that perceived that object would see it in the same way. This is because the object's identity would be coming from it, not from the perceiver. We know every being does not perceive things in the same way. Geshe Michael gives the example of Tarzan the first time he comes out of the jungle and visits New York City and sees a taxi cab. Does everybody understand what I mean by Tarzan? That's something in the Russian literature, German, Austrian literature. Okay. So Tarzan plops himself down in the middle of New York and he sees all this stuff moving around him. He goes to Times Square and gets totally pummeled by all the lights and sounds and energy of Times Square. So does he see taxi cabs? No. I'd be curious to think what he sees. Come on, cursor. So what amount of what's going on comes from the perceiver depends on which Buddhist school you're studying. But remember, ultimately in the highest school, as uncomfortable in some ways as it is in terms of understanding, none of the identity comes from the object because the object is projected completely by you. So let me repeat that. And I know we repeat it. I know you hear it many times, but you need to hear it all the time. What amount comes from the perceiver depends on which Buddhist school you're in. Ultimately, the highest school, as uncomfortable in some ways as it is in terms of understanding, none of the identity comes from the object because the object is projected completely by you. C. Dunchi. Dunchi. General as far as an object, maybe sight in this case. A mental image that we get when we think of something we have experienced before. We think of a taxi cab as a mental image that pops into our mind. That is a dunchi. A drashi is something we've heard, a mental image we get when we think of something that we've never experienced before, but have heard about. I can't have a class without a story, so here's another story. When I was 8, we were traveling in Europe. My dad had a sabbatical. Every 7 years, professors at the University of California can take a sabbatical. And he decided to bring the whole family, 5 kids, ages from my brother was 7 to my sister, my age, that was 10. And they took this family of 5 to England. And we had a ball. We really enjoyed it. But when we were over there, we had a card game. Is the card game Go Fish? Does that make sense? When you say, when you look at Kachi and you say, please give me all your 4s. She goes, oh, rats, I have 2 4s. And I had 2, so I lay down that book of 4s. Is that a card game in Russia? No? How about in Austria? No? Well, something new to bring to the countries. Anyway, so we were playing this game, and usually you play it with a deck of playing cards with hearts and spades and stuff like that. And this particular game we had, which I still remember to this day, it had the wonders of the world. So you could have 4 Eiffel Towers, you could have 4 Colosseums in Rome, you could have 4 what's another? The Colossus of Rhodes. So why do I bring that up? Huh. Huh. So much for another typical one of my, oh, here it is, here it is. The Drachi is the playing card Table Mountain to the Dunchi of actually seen it. So the Drachi is something you've imagined but never seen. The Dunchi is that I've actually seen it. So path of preparation. After having studied Chichad Rock, which we will in very great detail, contemplated and meditated and done lots of virtuous deeds, one day this might happen. Now, I want to emphasize here, I want to be sure to emphasize, you can study emptiness all you want, but if you don't help others, if you don't serve others, you will not see emptiness directly. If you don't help others, you will not see emptiness directly. So, this is how it happened for Geshe Michael. You could be standing at the stove one morning heating a pot of water to make tea for your Lama. Suddenly, as you're looking at the pot on the stove, you experience the fact that there is no pot on the stove. You realize that what you are seeing is part long, part black, part round, part shiny. You realize you've never seen the whole pot at once. You experience your mind taking the clues from the eye, data, pasting them together and realizing them into a whole called the pot. That's your karma ripening. All we ever act with this idealization of the whole thing, which you mistake for a pot on the stove. You only get a few clues at a time, but in our minds, we have a nice whole object. Our dunchi, the pot on the stove, and mistaking it for a thing out there. That's our dunchi. The drachi is the supreme dharma. This is the final stage of the path of preparation, the highest state you'll ever achieve as an ordinary being, as a Sosor Kewu, because next is the direct perception of emptiness. I think this has found its way into our popular culture. How many of you are familiar with the rock group Pink Floyd? Anybody? Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb? I think it's found its way into our popular culture because I was listening to Pink Floyd when I got out of 3-year retreat. I did not listen to much rock music before that. And I'm not going to sing it for you, but when I was a child, I caught a fleeting glimpse out of the corner of my eye. I turned to look at it, but it was gone. I cannot put my finger on it. Now the child is grown. So he saw somebody see something, but they say, they'll give you all the reasons in the world why it can't be true, thinking that will make it not be true. If you have the karma to see an alien spaceship land on top of the Eiffel Tower, that's the karma you're going to experience. So you have to be on the lookout for the little signs. So what this verse from the song is, he said, when I was a child, I caught a fleeting glimpse out of the corner of my eye. How many times has something happened that you just get a tantalizing sensation of it? I've had a couple of times where I've I don't want to say I've had a direct perception of dependent origination, but I've come close, where I'm looking for something that doesn't appear, I look one more time, and there it is. So was it always there and I ignored it? If it was always there and I ignored it, it had to come from me going out to it. It couldn't be there coming at me. So I tend to think in those instances that my karma's ripened because I didn't get mad looking for this particular reference. I spent 2 hours looking for this reference. And I kept skipping over one paper because I knew it wasn't in that paper. Well, guess where it was? It was in that paper. I finally opened it, and there it was staring me in the face. Okay. In the direct perception of dependent origination, you see clearly just what it is happening with the dunchis, the mental images you experience, the fact that you're experiencing nothing but mental images formed by your mind out of bits of data. This is deceptive or relative reality. You experience directly the fact that you have always been in deceptive reality and never before understood what it really is. You experience your mind making these projections for the first time. Then you finally experience the deceptive reality for what it really is. Right now we're getting to it, but hopefully, intellectually, we'll all get it at sometime in the near future. And he's talking about the direct perception of dependent origination. Now, here's a question I don't have an answer for. Is it possible to have the direct perception of dependent origination and then a layer of, I lost my thought. No, that's weird. I completely lost my thought. What was I saying?
Is it possible to have the direct perception of
Oh,
emptiness?
thank you. This is starting to worry me, all of you. I'm having these instances where I drop out, but maybe it has something to do with having been up for 48 hours. Now, I think it's possible. I've had this is my interpretation. I think I've had partial instances of partial direct perception of dependent origination. There are several times in my life where something almost appears in front of me. It doesn't appear in front of me like out of nothing, but I turn and I look back and there it is. And it wasn't there before. And it's not my wife sneaking around behind me and putting it there for me to see. So it encourages me that I'm beginning to understand the process. So look for those kind of things in your life. I think you'd be surprised how often they occur. Okay. So you're back at the stove. You experience directly the fact that you've always been in deceptive reality and never before understood what it really is. Now you experience your mind making those projections for the first time. So you finally experience deceptive reality for what it really is. Right now we're getting it, hopefully intellectually. All we need to do is see it directly. Next, you serve the tea to your Lama, and in doing so, your meditation practice, because of your meditation practice, you can go in and sit down and go into deep meditation. And that's something that I'm struggling with now, because I close my eyes and I just fall asleep. I haven't figured out how to meditate with my eyes open yet, because I try it with my eyes barely open, and they barely open, then they shut, and I fall asleep. So those of you who are coming to Spain for the teaching, you may get to see me fall over in dead sleep. Okay, Tongma. So that's the path of seeing, path of habituation. So the prerequisites, there are three prerequisites so far. You must leave the worldly life. You must explore Chichedra, a concept of making mental pictures out of characteristics. You must be meditating regularly, 7 minutes on for a few minutes, then off. Geshe once in one of the teachings said he's not asking us to meditate for an hour straight. He's asking us to meditate for an hour. So you can meditate for 10 minutes, take a break, meditate for 10 minutes, take a break. I've never heard him say that again. So now we're on the path of seeing. In this meditation on dependent origination that you're now doing, there's a cessation of rising as your mind goes into the direct perception of emptiness. It cannot be described, as the mind is beyond all thought. It's experiencing ultimate reality. So if someone comes to you and says, I've seen emptiness directly, it's blue. Well, they haven't seen emptiness directly. I've seen emptiness directly because it's seeing all the stars in the galaxy wink out. They haven't seen emptiness directly. You're not thinking, I'm seeing ultimate reality, as you cannot even frame such a thought. There is no experience except pure emptiness. The appearance of two things disappears. It's not that they become one. The awareness of yourself and the awareness of emptiness that you're experiencing are not separate. They're just awareness, the awareness of emptiness. So this has been termed non-duality, but this does not mean that you and the object become one. Now, this is something, we had a very dear friend who was a high-level practitioner in the Theosophical Society. And we tried to teach her Tonglen. She got very upset because she didn't want to breathe in someone else's pain, because she thought she was going to get that pain. So this idea of non-duality, where you melt into the other person, is incorrect. But we couldn't get her to understand that. It's very strange. You do not melt into emptiness, as you are a positive, changing thing. Emptiness is an absence. It's an unchanged thing. You cannot melt into emptiness. You don't become emptiness. You do not reach your essence. It means you lose your awareness of subject-object, but they do not go away. Once out of the direct perception of emptiness, you cannot experience any, and you can't experience deceptive reality anymore. It doesn't mean it disappears. It means your focus is on a different reality, a pure ultimate reality. Every object in the universe has its own emptiness, its lack of self-nature coming from itself. Every object's emptiness is pure 100% emptiness. In that sense, non-dual means my emptiness and the emptiness of all things are totally equal. It does not mean that there's one big emptiness that the other emptiness come out of. This is important to remember. It does not mean one big emptiness that the other emptinesses come out of. Non-duality does not mean you merge with the oneness. It does mean you lose your awareness of the distinction between subject and object. It does not mean you and the object are equal. You are equal only in the sense that you are both empty of having self-existence. This is like water being poured into water. It goes on for approximately 5 to 20 minutes, but you are not aware of it at that time. And Geshe says there's nothing more I can say to describe it because it is indescribable. And not only that, the English language doesn't have the capacity to describe it. As you come out of it, you realize the experience was the essence, the distillation of all the Buddhist literature. Everything, directly or indirectly, is about what you've just experienced. Jetap Yeshe is the aftermath wisdom, the second part of the path of seeing. This is what occurs throughout the remainder of the day until you go to sleep. You have the cessation of descending as your mind comes down out of the form realm. Next, you have a series of incredible realizations, one by one. There are 16 of them, but we're only going to cover a few tonight. You realize the truth, the four Arya truths, well, the four noble truths, should be named the four Arya truths. That is because they are the truths that Aryas see, not during direct perception of emptiness, but one by one afterwards. The truth of suffering, you see directly the reality of your death. From that day forward, you have the power to know what other people are thinking directly. For that day, not forever, for that day, you can read people's mind. So in Geshe Michael's case, you might want to buy a diamond that day. And in order to get the dollars to buy it, you have to take your car to a dealer who thinks you look like a loser and is happy to take advantage of you and gives you less than the car is worth. You know it because you've been able to read his mind, but you don't care. You know that in his mind, he knows he's cheating you and is happy about it. You know his mental afflictions and what it will do to him. You know the suffering of his mind. You know the truth of the cause of suffering. You understand you've never had a single correct perception. You've had valid perceptions, but you haven't had a correct perception. You see that you've never done anything ever that was not for your own benefit. Any good relationship you have, offering prayers, all mixed up with selfishness. It's a very sad feeling. I think I have the selfishness of knowing I'm doing what I'm doing for the benefit of everybody I work with. So I kind of disagree with that. Truth of cessation. You know you've met the Buddha directly, the essence of the Buddha, the Dharmakaya. You also know that you met or seen your future Buddhahood. You know how many lives it will take to become enlightened. And the last is the truth of the path. You get a very strong sensation of bodhicitta, energizing light in your heart. You know that you will now dedicate every moment of your life and lives for the good of others. You understand about prostrating and throw yourself on the floor for your very first real prostration. You finally understand offering and make an offering without any sense of self-servingness. Make an offering of a diamond, understand the metaphor with what you just saw. You understand the images of Lord Buddha and other Buddhas who are made by someone who saw Tara or saw Umati or saw Vajragini. They're not artwork. They're evidence of someone's direct contact. You understand the truth. You understand the truth of the Dharma. The books are all true. You understand everything in them. Understand you gain enlightenment and how to do it. No one can ever make you doubt the Dharma. The books must be preserved. You understand that you're not crazy. Once the experience is over, your perception of the world as self-existent reasserts itself. But now you know you're wrong. You know that you are seeing things ignorantly, incorrectly. You can't stop it. This is the true meaning of illusion in Buddhism. So Ayas suffer and have mental, do Ayas suffer and have mental afflictions? Yes. There are only 2 or 3 mental afflictions you lose forever at the direct perception of emptiness. You lose intellectual belief in self-existence. You know you are perceiving things incorrectly and that their perceptions are defective. You lose all doubt in the path. Your future lives will be spent in good conditions. Then you reach Gomlam, the path of habituation. You are on this path from the direct perception of emptiness through nirvana and Buddhahood. In the remaining lifetimes, you get rid of the remaining mental affliction. You change your behavior according to your new understanding, getting rid of the seeds and obstacles to omniscience, learning how to overcome seeing things as self-existent. So that's what we're going for. That's what we're striving for. It's a lot to take in, but we have the ingredients. We have the ingredients, and now we just have to follow through. And that's where it's so very important, so very important to be looking for the signs, looking for your karma ripening, knowing it's ripening, knowing you're in control, knowing what you must do and do with joy. Which is why I think the rejoicing practice is so very powerful. Because I've seen a great change in all of you since the rejoicing started. You're really getting it, and I'm so very pleased with that. Okay, let's dedicate this. What's one I haven't read in a while? Oh, Gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, please listen to what I now say from the depths of my heart. Just as all the previous Sugatas generated the mind of enlightenment and practice in accordance with Bodhisattva precepts, so shall I too, in order to benefit all that lives, give birth to bodhicitta and follow its precepts. In all my lives, may I never live apart from my perfect lamas. May I bask in the glory of the Dharma. May I fulfill perfectly every level and path and reach then quickly the place where I become myself, the one who holds the diamond. Okay, so let's repeat the 3 spheres exercise. Try and find an example between now and Monday of the 3 spheres occurring and report back on Monday. So, thank you for attending.
Thank you.
I hope we'll see you on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. What am I doing this weekend?
I'm sorry, Venerable Sumati, could I ask you a little more questions? I don't understand what difference between root, heart, and spiritual teachers.
Oh, that's a well. Thank you for asking the impossible question. Okay, you can have a teacher. Well, how can I put this? A lot of people have a meditation teacher, a scripture teacher, etc. Others have one. So to me, I've got everybody's a teacher for me, but the teacher that I just, whenever I'm in Geshe Michael's presence, I think I'm about 5 years old because he overwhelms me with how smart he is and how much he knows. So to me, the heart teacher is someone like that who just you're in awe of. Your root teacher, your heart teacher, you have a connection with them. It's like you're meeting them again in this life, having met them in many other lives. It's fine. I'm not doing a very good job of describing it. Well, it's like the feeling I get when I see His Holiness. When I see His Holiness in person, I start to giggle because I'm so overjoyed with having the karma to see Him. And I don't have a better explanation. I'll think more about it. I'll have that as my homework. Try and get a better if there is a distinction. I think it may just be semantics. So root, lama versus spiritual. Okay, that's my homework. Then I'm going to need to get some sleep. Okay. Thank you for translating. Thank you for recording. Thank you for asking questions. Thank you for laughing.
Thank you for teaching.
Well, it's my pleasure. Okay. And I hope Maximilian continues to feel better. And I hope he doesn't need any more metal. I still can. How old is he? He's 2?
Almost 2. In January, he gets 2.
I guess anything he sees, he puts in his mouth.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like that
It's this
now.
age, yeah.
Okay. Take care, everybody. Love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for teaching.
Bye.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Спасибо. Thank you so much, Venerable Sumati.
Thank you for teaching.
My pleasure.